Hey guys, John here, and I'm in Denmark on a tool hunt at Bauhaus. Bauhaus is a massive hardware chain. There's loads of stores all over Europe, not just in Denmark. I've actually been to one before and I found some amazing tools in Germany, but this isn't Germany, this is Denmark, and there's great Danish brands, probably some you've not heard of, maybe some you have heard of, but there's definitely going to be some cool tools in here. So let's go and have a look, see what I can find. Right, so Bauhaus, pretty big store. I've been to one before in Germany, but this one's in Denmark and they should have some different stuff. Let's go and have a look. Always love the toolbox aisle. Oh, I found a quirky tool there. Walked into the toolbox aisle and I found a quirky tool. This is pretty cool. I've seen this before. Have you ever seen like a load of screws with tons of dust in them? You use this, it's an attachment that goes on the end of a Hoover, and then it'll take up all the sawdust, all the bits and all the little crumbs, but it'll leave all the items and you just attach it to the end of Hoover. That is pretty cool. 55 Danish crowns, 6 quid. That's not a bad item. 6 quid for a vacuum attachment. Dust shape for the impossible areas. I don't think they've got their English nailed there. Dust shape. I think that is a pretty cool quirky tool pickup. Toolbox aisle. This is always a good place to have a look, and it's nice to see some roll cabs. You don't see many roll cabs in our hardware stores. Bahco as well. Nice. That's a nice looking toolbox. That, like the whole front handle lifts up to open the drawer. It's quite cool actually having those corner posts attached to the drawer. Nice big drawer, comes out all the way. These are a bit more my speed though, these Vicent B boxes. I think that is the kind of thing that's perfect. It's a modular system, but I think we need to get this and get an insert map for it. And I suppose the thing that makes that quirky is it's made in Germany. Proper made in German toolbox, which is pretty nice. So I think we get one of those, take that with us. I didn't realise Fiskars, which is a Finnish brand, if you didn't know. I didn't know until I just read this little ticket. I didn't know they had such a range of stuff. I thought it was mainly like gardening stuff, but they've got claw hammers, they've got a framing hammer, but really nice quality stuff. We've also got all different knives. So this is one of my personal favourites down here, the drywaller's knife. I love that. That was one of my top picks from, I think France I found that. But they've got even more stuff here. Some heavy duty scissors, which I don't think I need more scissors, but pretty interesting. Folding pull saw, little fine detailing pull saw. Quite like this, that's a tenner for a Fiskars folding utility knife. Got a bit of a utility knife collection going, so I won't want to miss out that. This is interesting, fixed utility knife, and it's got some sort of fold out guard. Yeah, look at that, so that comes out to guard the blade, so just so you have the tip of the blade poking out. Not sure what the use case is for that. So you slide the blade out and then you bring the little guard over to like cover off most of it. Oh, it's a fixed blade, so it doesn't retract. It's not a retractable knife, permanently fixed. So for people who want a permanently fixed blade, you don't want the mechanism to fail and for the knife to push in. So the blade is locked, then you bring that out to store it. That's pretty interesting. I don't need one of those, but it's interesting. They've got the carpenter's knife with a chisel. I wonder if that's made in Sweden, made in China. Got to get the utility knife though, that's a pretty cool one. Really like this Fiskars stuff. I really didn't know there was that much stuff. That's something pretty cool. Felo. I don't have any Felo tools, but made in Germany, and it's like a T-handle screwdriver. I think that's pretty cool. We can get that and have a look at that. That's caught my eye. If you're going to make a hammer a multi-tool, what is the other use you need? Bottle opener. Little pin hammer with a bottle opener built in. That is just the ticket. I think if that isn't an obvious giveaway, I don't know what is. 5 hammers and bottle openers, one for me. That's a winner. That's going in. Always interesting look at the Hultafors bits. I've got a few of these. Don't have that though. That'd be a little pickup for the compact toolkit. Little mini Hultafors Crowbar. Got the towel meter, which I love. Got the folding square, got a speed square. Got the hammer. The hammer's a really good quality. Nothing else is catching my eye other than that. I think that's pretty cool. True Blue. I thought I'd go all the way to America to find the True Blue stuff. I've already got a few bits, but what I don't have, and this caught my eye straight away, an Empire Zollstock. That is an absolute win. I'm well chuffed for that. Right, let's keep looking. It's cool to see such a big range of Ryobi Link stuff because I've actually got all of the Ryobi Link boxes. I've got the full stack and these are all on the website. We've got inserts for every single box. They've only got a few of the boxes, but they've got all the accessories. Look at this, they've got all of the wall brackets. These screw up to the wall and then you can have all sorts of hooks, big hooks, small hooks, little screwdriver holders. These all click into the link system. Oh, so they've actually got some of these push holders for like handle, like a mop and a brush. Even this kind of thing. Little totes and it all mounts on these like rails. Don't think I'm gonna be buying any of this to take back in my suitcase. It won't fit. But if you want to see me do a review on all the Ryobi Link stuff, I'll probably do it over on What Toolbox. So go and subscribe up there. If you didn't know already, we've got a second channel doing all of the toolbox reviews, toolbox system discussions and comparisons. Some cool videos to go and watch on there. And we could do a Ryobi Link accessory roundup. Let me know in the comments, what do you reckon? Is that something we need to look at? Seeing this lot, I didn't quite realise how much Ryobi Link stuff there was, how many options there were. It's pretty extensive, and to see it all on the shelf as well is pretty cool. But I don't think we're picking any up this time, so let's keep looking. Now this is a great example of why I check every aisle. When it comes to like multi-tools and attachments and blades, you think you've seen one, you've seen them all, but there's always different shapes and sizes available. And this little treasure is in the consumables aisle. I absolutely love this. I've got this item in my toolkit. It's basically a handle for recip blades. So any reciprocating saw blade that's got this attachment, you can literally just put it in this, it clamps really tight, and then it turns it into a saw. Now, added to that, because I've already got this, I've already talked about it, I think I'm gonna get another one because it's 200 Danish kroner, so that puts it about 20 quid, which isn't bad for that, to be fair, because you also get some blades with it. But also, just above it, look at that beastie recip saw there. It's like a pretty cool serration. I think that cut through foam really well, and attaching to that, that is like making a really, really good item. You've definitely got more choice in terms of recip blades, but that is the one that's the standout. I think a foam cutting blade is pretty awesome. In that handle, that is one of my classic favourite quirky tools, so I've got to pick up another one of those, and it's Bosch. Pretty cool pickup that, happy with that. This is a bit of an unusual find in a hardware store. Puma badges and Puma shoe boxes. They caught my eye. I thought trainers, but no. Puma do a range of safety shoes, which I literally, maybe you knew, I didn't know. I just saw these thinking, why are they selling trainers? And they've got loads of different types. That looks a bit like a running shoe, doesn't it? But it's actually got like a composite plate in the bottom and like a composite toe. It's very light, so it's not a steel toe. But yeah, pretty cool, that, isn't it? Get yourself a pair of Pumas while you're down at the local B&Q. Oh, look at this thing. I can't imagine that taking off in the UK. This is like an airflow sandal boot by Puma. Not sure on that one, to be honest. This is supposed to be a Baltic state, and to me, Baltic means freezing. The fact that you're gonna have an open-toed Croc safety boot crossover, look at that, all the airflow there. That's a mental shoe. Yeah, safe to say I'm not gonna be picking up any of those, but that's not to say it isn't interesting. Let's keep looking. Matador. Now that sounds very Spanish, doesn't it? Matador, but it's German. Dramon. Got a load of stuff. It's all pretty standard though. It's like your standard spanners and sockets, and it's always worth just looking. What is there anything that they've done a little bit different? But I think it's a no. New brand though, Matador. Always interesting to see a new brand. Talking about Ryobi tools you can't get in the UK. Have you ever seen Ryobi fans? Ryobi chop saw, Ryobi bench sander, another bench sander, scroll saw, grinder, little bandsaw. And then over this side, nice to see the Ryobi 4-volt range. And I've already got a couple of bits. I've got the cardboard cutter. I got a little triple pack from America. The things that are catching my eye here, 4-volt Ryobi magnifying glass. I'm not sure if that's just the light that's powering. And also this. A foam wire cutter. That is pretty nifty, isn't it? You put the battery in, you charge that up. I'm guessing it's got different heads yet, so it's got different attachable heads. And then a foam cutter. I can't imagine how hot that's going to get and how quick that's going to go. But for sculpting polystyrene, that's pretty nifty. And then maybe for cutting shadow foam, I'd have to give it a go. But the good thing is, in Home Depot, they didn't have it all laid out like this. And they didn't have all the stock nice and neatly stacked up like this either. So the case is, what do I get to add to the range? For me, it's got to be this little foam cutter. I think that is a little beauty. This is another interesting find. Bahco hammers. They drew my eye because they've got this interesting little design on the handle. And Bahco being Swedish, I just always look where tools are made because I'm just interested. I think we're building a bit of a map and a bit of a picture of where stuff's made. Any guesses where these are made? Where would you think that these Bahco hammers are made? Some of these, this one here, knife claw hammer, Bahco, made in Taiwan. This one, all of these with these dotted handles, made in Italy. I can't think off the top of my head of any other tools that I know that are made in Italy. So some Bahco ground hammers with these really kind of cool hickory handles with the dots on. That's just a nice little bit of information, that, isn't it? Next time we go to Italy, maybe we find out which factory's making them. These will obviously be like white label hammer made by some brand that makes the hammers, and then Bahco like license them to make the Bahco version, but it's really nice, made in Italy. I'm not in the market for a lump hammer, and it's heavy to go in my hand luggage, so I'm not really looking to buy a hammer, but they're pretty smart, they are. This is looking pretty fishy. Don't see that in England. Fishing section. It's pretty cool, isn't it? And it's got its own little section of tools. I do look everywhere in these different hardware stores because you never know what you're going to find. This in itself is pretty unusual, having some fishing rods and bait and lures and stuff. I've not got time for fishing yet, but maybe in the future. Quite like laser liner stuff. Each time I've been to Germany and a couple of other places too, I've had a few of these items and always been pleasantly surprised. I had the little volt stick, which has got like this sensitivity button in. It says zoom, but it means it'll like detect voltage from further away. I love that little thing. And then I did buy the little compact multimeter too, which is here in the cupboard. That little damp checker is quite handy. Compact little damp checker. Like that's pretty good for in like a caravan. Love a caravan. Nice to see a good section of Bahco tools. This is the kind of brand that I was hoping to see here. And they've got some absolutely chonking bits I've not seen before. And I've said this a few times in videos, but Bahco is owned by Snap-on. And that's a testament to the quality of their stuff. It's all just really solid, nice things. And they've got a couple of my favourite tools here. Firstly, you've got a Zollstock to add to the collection. I was hoping to find a Bahco Zollstock. You've also got a folding utility knife, which again is a really simple addition to our collection. We've got two collections going at the minute, folding utility knives and Zollstocks. And then the other thing is you've got my absolute favourite 1/4" Bahco socket set. And this thing in here is 22 quid. So I've worked it out, 200 Swedish krona is currently 9 Swedish krona to £1, and that is an absolute little beauty. So that's 22 quid in here, and that is the best socket set I've ever had. I've got another one of these, and it's in another toolkit. So having a second is a real little winner. That'll definitely go in another toolkit, and it's one of my favourite recommendations. I'll put a link in the description to this, it's that good. And the other bits too. I'll put links in the description for anything I find that I can find on Amazon. But a couple of picks there, Zollstock, I'm buzzing to find one of those that I haven't got. Great stuff. So, back from Denmark, and that was a really successful trip. Found some great stuff at Bauhaus, and Denmark is an absolutely beautiful country, somewhere I wouldn't hesitate to go back to. Absolutely loved it. Weren't there long, but Copenhagen, beautiful city. Went over the bridge over to Sweden, and that is an incredible bridge and tunnel. It's incredibly long, expensive to cross, to be fair, but just a lovely landscape. We were there with some beautiful weather and managed to get some amazing tools. Now, I wasn't just there to go to Bauhaus, I was also at Begeri, which is Denmark's biggest tool show. And it was just a bit interesting, some brands I've never seen before and probably would have never come across had I not gone to the Denmark Begeri show. That is coming very soon on the channel. You're not going to want to miss it, so make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon, because the bell icon, if you didn't know, subscribing to a YouTube channel costs nothing. It just means that our videos are going to appear in your feed whenever you go on YouTube. And if you click the bell, you'll get a notification when our videos go live, so you're not going to miss the biggest Begeri Denmark tool show. Begeri sounds like the guy from Jungle Book, doesn't it? Bagheera, but it's Begeri. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. So that's coming very soon. But today, it's all about Bauhaus. I've been to Bauhaus in Germany and I found some amazing stuff, and Denmark didn't disappoint. They had different stuff as well, some really quirky stuff. So this is a big video. It's a top 10 with an amazing giveaway. This isn't even on the list. This is the Wissent, that's their brand, Wissent I think you'd pronounce it, B-Box, and it's a made in Germany tool case. We've seen this on the channel before actually. I did get one of these from Bauhaus, so I'm adding to my collection. But this is a great little toolbox, made in Germany. You don't see many toolboxes made in Germany. And as you'd expect, we do have shadow foam inserts that slot perfectly in size, and these are an absolute beautiful fit. We've got 10 colours of shadow foam, all at shadowfoam.com. You can find any toolbox, even if it's quite an obscure box like the Wissent B box. We've got inserts for everything, and they slot perfectly inside. You can get everything organised. But as I go through my top 10 quirky tools, I'll put a bit of a layout together, as always, and I'll cut the foam at the end. So that leads me to my top 10, and number 10 is pretty cool. We're starting strong with a giveaway. So number 10 on the list is this little beastie. It's a Bauhaus branded hammer. And what makes it quirky? Well, it's got a bottle opener built in. And there you go. If ever you thought that your hammer needed another use, rather than a claw for pulling out nails, a bottle opener. If you can't describe that as quirky, what can you describe as quirky? And I did get 6 of them, as you'd expect. So let me dig them all out of here. But we are starting strong with a lovely little claw hammer bottle opener for me, and then 5 for the giveaway. You know how we do it on this channel by now, hopefully. I always buy 5 of them for a giveaway, just to give more people a chance of winning. And all you've got to do to win a little giveaway bundle is drop a comment down below and make sure you're subscribed. I read all the comments and I reply to as many as I can as well. So get involved in the conversation about quirky tools, about quirky bottle opening hammers down below, and you'll be entered. And we do those prize draws in a couple of weeks, and those videos go out on the Shadow Foam channel, which we'll put a link to that. You can go and subscribe to the Shadow Foam main channel if you want to. We do the random prize draws over there where we pick the comments out. It's a little bit of fun as well, so make sure you go and check those out. So that's number 10. Let me show you number 9. So number 9 on the list is our first proper tool. I don't think you can count the bottle opening hammer, but it's pretty cool nonetheless. But we've got a Hultafors 108 mini, this is, 190mm long little pry bar. And I like this for my compact toolkit. And hopefully this will illustrate to you that my toolkits are never finished, and whose toolkits really ever are finished. A couple of weeks ago, I put out the compact toolkit. You can go and watch it here. And it's basically the culmination of all of the tool hunts, all of the quirky tool trips that I've done, all my kind of tool collecting over the years, boiled down into the most efficient compact toolkit that I could put together. The goal was as much functionality as possible in the smallest toolkit that I can have with me at all times, but it is never truly finished, and this illustrates that. I found this little Hultafors pry bar in Bauhaus, and it's got a little nail puller on it. It's a traditional crowbar, but it's very flat, so it takes up a little bit less room. It's got a nail puller here. So yeah, little beauty from Hultafors, and that is number 9. Let me show you number 8. Number 8 is a brand I didn't expect to see in Denmark. It's something I've only seen in America, in Lowe's or Home Depot. I can't remember which one. And that is the True Blue Travelers Empire level. Every time I see this, I always just think of True Blue Travelers. If you don't know who they are, go and check it out here. We did a van kit for them. Still watch all their videos. They converted the Sainsbury's box van, and it was a great little build. Really had me hooked on the build and hooked on their channel. But every time I get the Empire stuff, I always think of them because it's always got this True Blue. And True Blue refers to these optical bubbles, which are all made in America. So I do believe it's only the bubbles that are made in America, but Empire is an American brand. It's pretty cool. So I picked up a combination square. A combination square is an essential part of like a starter toolkit. I do think that could be a cool video, kind of what are the top 10 most essential tools to any general purpose toolkit. I think a combination square would be a winner for me because it's so useful to have this in your toolkit. And this one's got a nice little scribe in it as well that just slots in there. Quite a lot of them have scribes in, to be fair. It locks really nicely, the ruler's really solid on it, and it's just a nice looking, nice feeling little level that is. And I didn't stop there with number 8 because I also found an Empire Zollstock, which was an absolute winner. If you didn't know, I collect Zollstocks, and this will be the 58th Zollstock in my collection, and I'm always hunting for tool brands. A lot of those Zollstocks I find are plain, they're not branded, so to find an Empire Zollstock in Denmark, and I couldn't even find this in America, was amazing. And it didn't stop there because I also found Bauhaus Zollstocks. And I didn't just buy one of those, I didn't just buy 2, I bought a load of them. But I bought 5 for you guys. So along with the bottle opening hammer, we've also got a Bauhaus Zollstock. And that means you can be part of the journey collecting Zollstocks. And if you don't know what these are, Zollstock means inch stick in Germany. And essentially it's just a folding ruler. It folds like this. They lock into place. These good quality, like European made ones, they lock into place. They're really nice. And they're just a handy tool, and they're used more commonly than tape measures in Europe. This one's made by Stabila, so it's made by a really high quality German measurement and level company. Stabila, very famous. I'm sure you've heard of Stabila. Well, they've made the Bauhaus level, and that is in the giveaway. And it doesn't quite stop there too, because I did find another Zollstock from Meek Tools, and that's the ones I'm looking for basically. A nice logo printed on there, tool brands are what I love, and that puts me at 58 and 59 in the collection. So that is number 8. Let me show you number 7. 7 is another brand you might recognise from some of our other quirky tool hunts, and that is Fiskars. Fiskars never failed to surprise me because I assumed, wrongly, that they were all like gardening tools, but actually they do have a bunch of hand tools, and in particular their utility knives tend to offer something a bit special. Now I did find an amazing drywaller's knife in Leroy Merlin. That was in Spain, and that made me look twice at all the Fiskars products. This is the Fiskars Pro folding utility knife. It just looks interesting. I'm sure you'd agree that is a weird shape for a knife. It's called a comfort grip, and I can tell you now it feels really solid, and when it folds out it kind of looks like a fixed blade. It doesn't look like a folding knife. Like that looks like a fixed blade, but you press the button and it just collapses in on itself essentially. It's also got this secure blade lock, so you have to push that in and then slide it out to unlock the blade. And this is what makes it really special really. These are Carbon Max blades, and it says they stay sharp 24 times longer than a normal blade, which is pretty good, isn't it? Made in the USA as well. That's all you need in a knife really, isn't it? A sharp blade that stays sharp, nice comfort handle, it's not going to fold in on you and cut your fingers, but that is a really nice ergonomic knife, that is. I really like that. It's probably one of the most comfortable knives I've ever had. Out of all the utility knives that I've picked up, and I do have quite a lot now, there is a pretty good folding knife utility collection going. That is a really comfortable grip. That is a nice one. Happy days. So that is number 7. Let me show you number 6. Right, number 6 on the list is something really cool that I've seen online but never seen it in person. So I picked one up, and this is a load of straws on a little nozzle that attach to your Hoover. And it's for getting like all little bits of sawdust and crumbs out of bigger items. So I've put a demonstration together. The demonstration I've seen online was impressive, but I think giving it a proper test is pretty exciting. So I picked up this, it was about a £5. Comes with a couple of attachments as well, so it'll fit to your Hoover. I've got a standard Henry Hoover here, and this thing just literally slots in the end, and it turns the one big nozzle into like 15, 20 small nozzles. And as you can see here, we've got the nightmare scenario. You've got your box of screws, it's filled up with sawdust, maybe you've dropped them all on the floor and you've scooped them all back in the box, and there's a load of dust in there. Let's see how it fares getting all that sawdust out. Suction's pretty good. And that is pretty cool. You can see, obviously there's no danger of any screws getting sucked up, and that is making light work of that. Can you see? That corner there is all kind of sawdust mixed in. Go in there with that, and it's just getting it all out. What a cool little thing for a £5. I love that. Pretty simple. It's the kind of thing it's just handy to have. Maybe in your little attachments pile of Hoover attachments. Get yourself one of these. Pretty cool, that is. I think that deserves its place in number 6. And I didn't just buy one of these. You'll be happy to know that is the final part of our giveaway. I actually got another 5 of these little kits. I just thought, if it works as well as it did in the videos I've seen online, that is definitely a cool little pickup. If you want one of those bundles, there's 5 up for grabs. All you've got to do is drop a comment, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and that is our giveaway. And that was number 6. Let me show you number 5. So number 5 is a really cool brand, Bahco. You'll well know this brand. I got their SL25 toolkit, and I got a utility knife for the collection. The utility knife I'll start with doesn't look particularly interesting, but I am trying to get every folding knife going to make a full comparison, and I didn't have this one, so we may as well pick it up and have a look. But I thought it might have been a metal body, but I can see it's plastic. To be honest, that's pretty standard, so nothing too special to talk about there. But the item that is special, which I really like, and I recommend it to anyone, if I do a video about the 10 starting tools to get for a general toolkit, I would definitely put this on there, because you don't need to pay fortunes for tools. This kit here is about 25 quid. Sometimes you get it for 20 quid in a Black Friday sale, and it's a Bahco, and Bahco's owned by Snap-on, really good quality. I've got a couple of this exact set. It's a 1/4 inch ratchet driver with 1/4 inch extension, and then a 1/4 inch socket set from 4mm up to 13mm. Great for like motor connections and smaller electrical connections. You've also got a 1/4 inch bit holder and some 1/4 inch bits, and it's just a great quality, nice compact little kit, and I've used it so much over the years that I've got a couple of these, and it never hurts to have another one. This is 25 quid, and like I say, if you want one of these, actually I'll put a link in the description, and any of the links I put in the description, they do support the channel. So if any of these tools catch your eye, we'll put a link to Amazon down below, and if you pick up one of the tools, you will be supporting the channel too. And if you're looking to start your first toolkit, this is definitely a really good, strong starting point. If you'd like to see me do like a top 10 tools to start with, startup kit, let me know in the comments, and those comments will be entered into the giveaway, so it's a bit of a win-win. That's number 5. Let me show you number 4. Number 4 is the item that's been sticking out the bag the whole time. It'd be good to get that one out of the way, and it is a foam cutting recip blade. Now it says guaranteed Bauhaus quality, so I'm guessing that Craft Auma is like a Bauhaus brand, but let me show you why I picked this up. Essentially, I'm not just on the lookout for tools, but also sometimes the consumables and attachments, because you can find variations and different interesting things across the world, and obviously this can go into any recip saw or sawzall, and you can see it's like a serrated, almost like bread knife. But my assumption was, this doesn't say what it's for on here, it just has a picture of someone cutting mineral wool. And if it'll cut mineral wool, it'll probably cut foam really well, which is why I picked it up. I thought we could give that a go, and it's pretty nicely made as well. It says it's made in Germany too, so that's a pretty cool item on number 4, and it goes with number 3. So let me show you number 3. So number 3 goes with the recip blade perfectly, and that is this Bosch recip blade handle. Now this is amazing, this tool. I've talked about it on the channel before when I built this panel, and you might be able to see that I already have this exact saw in the wall, and I bought another one because I can have it in one of my kits. Now what is it? Well, essentially recip blades are obviously designed for a recip saw or a sawzall, but in and of themselves they are just a saw, aren't they? There's nothing more to them. They could be like a woodworking saw, or they can be a hacksaw or a multi-purpose saw, and if you put a handle on it, it turns it into a paddle pad saw essentially, and that's exactly what this is. We'll put a link, as I say, to all of the items. Now this isn't part of the Bosch Professional Tools lineup, although it is the Bosch Professional colours. You can see all of the colours of tools behind me there, they're all the professional, and they usually have the word professional on them. This is kind of like an anomaly, it's like a separate product sat quietly on its own, and we will put a link in the description if you want one of these. But what I like about it is, it takes normal reset blades. In the body you can house a couple of blades, so it's quite compact and the blades just go in there. But the thing that I really like is how tightly it clamps the blades. It's not really flimsy saw. You literally just put any reset blade with this little tang on into the mouth of the handle. So once the blade clips in, you click this up and it ratchets tight. It closes down on the tang. And once it's all the way up as far as it'll go, that blade, it's almost like one piece now. There is no movement in it. It's really solid in there. And I've got a piece of foam here. If I want to cut this, that is a really nice handle on that blade. And I can go nice and controlled. I don't have to put it into a Sawzall or a recip saw and go a little bit mental. I can go nice and steady and cut a piece down. And it's as simple as that. And obviously, if I want to use it as a pad saw and cut some plasterboard, or I want to just use it in the garden or just cutting branches or whatever you want to use it for, you can take reset blades that maybe just sat there in the drawer not doing anything and actually turn them into a really useful tool. And like I say, this little kit here came with a couple of blades, so pretty cool little thing this, and I think it's a great addition to any tool kit just to have that in there for basically the best part. I think about 20 quid on Amazon. So that's number 3. Let me show you number 2. Right, on to number 2, my penultimate pick. And that is from Ryobi, and this is another foam cutting product, but it represents an entire lineup of tools from Ryobi, their 4-volt range. Now I did pick up another couple of items from the 4-volt range in Home Depot in America, and I got their box cutter, their pistol grip and then twist screwdriver. And it also came with a torch, and this is kind of like a little triple bundle, and that gave me a battery. So when I was in Bauhaus and I saw they had a bit more of their stuff, I had a look through and this really caught my eye. This is their cordless hot cutter, and I could buy it body only. I didn't have to buy a battery because I already had one. And the whole lineup of this 4-volt stuff is fascinating. There's loads of quirky little things, magnifying glass with a battery and hot blower and inflators and all sorts of stuff. It's a pretty interesting lineup. I wouldn't mind looking at all of the stuff. Let me know if you'd like to see that, like a full Ryobi 4-volt matchup video. But this one definitely is a good place to start, because anything that says it's cutting foam, we've got to have a look at, haven't we? So what have we got here then? So we've got a body with a kind of the twist off top that you put the battery in. So obviously I've already got a battery, so that can go straight in there. And then this has got 3 attachments that go on it. You've got a hot point, a bit of a hot knife, and then you've got like the hot wire, which I think is a good place to start. So that just clipped on. And the battery's charged, so you just hold the trigger down, and I can see it's flashing, so I think it is getting hot. Let's see if it'll do anything. Oh, it's not particularly fast, but if you're doing some sculpting work, I think that is pretty cool. Maybe for polystyrene and doing some craft modeling, I think that's cool. And then for this knife, I think that would be actually far more useful for kind of smoothing out the bottom of inserts and getting a better finish. It's not really a knife, it's more like a spatula, like a hot spatula, which is pretty cool. And then this one is like the hot point and can just like kind of melt into the foam, which is pretty cool. But I think the whole 4-volt lineup is a bit of a winner, because I think it's very, very light, much easier to hold in the hand. They're all quite ergonomic, and just a cool little lineup of stuff. If you'd like to see that video, let me know, because these tools do seem very versatile and probably have some interesting use cases. So I'd like to look through all the different versions of 4-volt tools they've got. So that is number 2, the Ryobi 4-volt hot wire cutter. Let me show you my top pick from Bauhaus in Denmark. So my top pick from Denmark Bauhaus is a brand I definitely did not expect to see in Bauhaus, a very professional German-made tool brand, and that is Felo. This thing is made in Germany, and hopefully you can see straight away what I saw, which is how cool is it to have a screwdriver set with kind of multiple attachments to give you loads of different options, but thin-bladed screwdrivers, but also this, turning screwdrivers into T-handle screwdrivers so you've got more torque. I just thought that is amazing, and it all comes in a case, so I had to pick this thing up. I thought it's definitely worth the look and definitely fits the criteria of a quirky tool. Being made in Germany too also adds a little bit of extra interest to it. I always like to see German made tools. And what have we got here? So it's a nice little kit. I also like to see when it's kind of a double-ended screwdriver blade rather than just one end. They're using the steel pretty efficiently in terms of it clicks in there, you've got a small Phillips bit, and then you can pull it out, flip it around, and you've got a flat bit. And these are much better than 1/4-inch bits. You know, you might be thinking, oh, you can get a really cheap 1/4-inch bit set, load of little kind of ends that just go in, but typically they magnetize into a little holder that's really wide, so you can't use it like a normal screwdriver. But with this set, you clip that flathead in there, that is no bigger than a normal screwdriver, and it's also got this hex shaft, so you can get a spanner on it to get more torque. Not that you'd need to, because obviously its bonus feature is the fact you can push this forward, twist it down, push it back up and lock it in, and then it is basically a full set of T-handle screwdrivers and T-handle Allen keys too, because a bunch of these are hex head. So you've got literally hex set of drivers, which is really, really cool. Not a set I've seen before, not a design I've seen before, and pretty interesting from Felo. Felo Smart is the brand. The case is pretty big. It feels like a bigger case than it possibly needed to be. There's a load of like extra depth in here that's not being utilized. So I think they could have probably boiled the case down into a bit of a smaller version, but really nice quality. Yeah, it's a big old chunky box that, isn't it, for what is quite a compact set. I mean, Wearer would probably boil that down into about half the size, I reckon. But still really cool nonetheless, and that is a real winner for me. I think having a screwdriver that can turn into a T-handle and also lock into place to be a really nice functional ergonomic screwdriver is a real winner. So that is my number one pick. Let me know in the comments what you think of that. Have you seen this Felo Smart set before? It was definitely not a new brand on me. I'd heard of Felo, but I've not seen this kit, so this is a cool pickup, I think. So that's my number one pick. Let me know in the comments what you think, and you will be entered into that giveaway. And as I've been going along, I've got pretty close to what I would consider a finished layout over here. We've got a full old drawer of stuff, and I think I can actually cut some of this foam with my new Ryobi 4-volt foam cutter as well. So that is the layout pretty much confirmed. Let's cut everything into the insert. There we go, that is all of the foam cut in, and that's a lovely looking layout, to be fair. I've got a nice bit of spacing on everything, and there's a few amazing pics from that Denmark store. Let me know in the comments which one of those stands out as the winner to you. I think I've got a pretty good list going there, and I'm pretty happy with my winner. The Felo Smart T-handled screwdriver is pretty cool. I really like that. Now, when it comes to cutting shadow foam, it's dead easy. You've just seen me do it, and essentially all I do is lay out the items wherever I want them, and then cut around them with a scalpel, peel back the foam layers to create these insets. So every item has got its own location. You'll know where anything is. The inserts we make for every toolbox on the market, and all of the tools that you need to cut the foam come in one of our cutting kits. These come free with most orders at shadowfoam.com, and we'll put a link in the description for shadowfoam.com. You can get shadow foam inserts in 10 colors now for any toolbox you can think of. If it's Makita, if it's DeWalt, if it's Milwaukee Packout, if it's something a bit obscure like a Vicent B box, you name it, we've got a shadow foam insert that perfectly fits inside the box, and it turns it from what is essentially an empty plastic bucket into a perfectly organized toolbox, which is pretty cool. Let me know in the comments which one of these tools was your favorite, and then you'll be entered into the giveaway draw. And like I say, we draw the winners. It's a really simple process. I just pick random winners from the comments. As long as you subscribed over on the Shadow Foam channel, we've got loads of prize draws on there. You can see all of the previous winners. We try to keep things nice and simple, nice and visible, so wherever you are in the world, it doesn't matter where you are, if you win, we'll ship the bundle of prizes out to yourself. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this one. It was a great trip to Denmark. I really enjoyed it, but I'll see you next time.